Hey everyone, Seb here. Today I'm going to teach you how to hit very effective wedge shots. I really struggled with wedge shots throughout my whole playing career. I was really on plane with my takeaway. Maybe my club face was a little bit open at times, until my mentor Jason King taught me to swing the club a little bit under the plane with the face shut, and then using more of a push or extension on the left side, just creating some connection and making it really easy for myself. So my wedge game went through the roof after learning this from Jason, and I guarantee it's going to help you as well. So what does all that stuff mean? Well, if I'm going to hit a traditional wedge shot where the club swings on plane, and this is for anyone that wants to build their swing from the ground up, I'd suggest using a wedge first, and then work it into your full irons and then eventually driver. But with a wedge, if I was to swing the club on plane, what this would look like is, if I've got my target here and I can imagine a beam coming from the target through my hands back this way, kind of along this white stick, then the club head would be in line with the hands and also in line with that beam. The club face would be turned in a fraction like such. This is regarded as open in relation to this plane. So that is square. That is too sharp. So you want it about there. What I found when I did this, especially on golf courses up in Queensland where the grass is really grainy and can catch your club quite easily, basically what it means is the club's just coming from a little bit too steep a position, and it's just ever so slightly a little bit too in line with the target. You got to be quite precise in where that ball gets hit, and if you're a fraction too steep and over this way, it's going to catch that leading edge and then chop, kind of like the result there. If you really want to fine tune your wedge game, this is the easiest way to do it. So it's really hard to see this, so you need some alignment stick to get your alignment set. But what I found is feet close together for your wedge shots, pitch shots, a little bit of forward shaft lean like this. And what I want to try and achieve is I want to hinge my wrists. There's a little bit of movement with my hips. Obviously the shoulders are going back as well. I can feel a little bit of weight go towards my back foot, but I'm feeling like the head, the club head from parallel with the ground, has just gone a touch inside my hands. Now this would be regarded as under the plane. That's more neutral and that's more outside. Not to say this to do this every time, but this is more for wedge shots. Eventually with your iron shots, you want the club head coming from the inside of the hands or behind the hands, but we'll get to that. So yeah, hinging the club more inside and a little bit more shut with the face. And then from there, I just feel like I'm delivering the head back down behind me. Obviously, I'm not just dropping the whole club down there, but it's a sensation of placing the club back down behind me. And then from there, I'm extending and getting out of the way from my left side. So it's inside and shut. And you can just practice that a few times. Inside and shut. And I can imagine, okay, there's the beam coming from the target through my hands. Yep, it's inside that beam. And then from there, I'm going to stand up and feel like I'm pulling the handle up and around my body. So it's inside and shut. And because it's a wedge, you're not going to get too much shape off it. Like the ball's not going to curve around too much. Also, what's happening is it's allowing you to get more forward shaft lean at impact without chopping down into the ground. So if I was to get more of, this is forward shaft lean where the shaft is leaning forward of perpendicular. if I was to get forward shaft lean coming from a more neutral position, like such, I've got to be really careful not to drive the handle down into the ground this way. I've got to still get up and out of it. But then when I do that from a neutral position, it just feels like I'm going to pop it out to the right, or even if I shut the face, it's just going to pull left. So getting this feeling coming from the inside, where I can get forward shaft lean whilst brushing the grass, that's just where the consistency of the strike helps you have a smaller dispersion of shots. The ball speed is going to be more consistent because the club face is getting on the ball a lot easier. Whereas if the club is like this, there's more chance of sliding up the face or hitting thin and coming out low, and there's a lot more range in angle off that ball flight. So inside and shut, and just practice getting it in there. So again, there's a little bit of hip turn, a little bit of pivot, a little bit of motion up, not going down like this, a little inside, and then I feel like as I'm coming through, it's coming back down behind me, and then I can match it up. I can do it very slowly. The slower you do it, and make sure you get into these positions where it starts to match up, then you can build the speed, and then you can start clipping it. So it's inside and shut, and then up and tall. And that felt like a bad one, and it's right next to the hole. It's the same result as the last one. So that's the benefit of it. The club is literally coming from a lower position in space, which is shallow. Up here, that's steep. This, shallow. Now, if you're too shallow, you're probably not going to hit the ball, and it's coming on too flat a plane. That's why you just want it a little bit inside. And also, the reason why I extend and get tall off the left leg is, again, more control with the body. I don't have to flip the hands at it. This is generating the speed, but also it's allowing the club to work a little bit up with the handle and then releasing with the head, which is allowing me to clip the ball a lot easier. And that ball flight come out a bit high, but it's not too bad. The ball flight never lies. What you want to get from your ball flight with a wedge is a low little draw. That means you're getting forward shaft lean, and you'll notice if you're not chopping into the ground or not. Like that. It's easy. It's easy. Inside and shut. And notice how my chest is tall to the target. I'm really kind of up and back. My hips are going forward a little bit. Definitely not like this. But obviously you got to put in the reps too. Get in that position. So easy. Yeah. So they're the few things. A little bit inside and shut, and then from there, you're kind of keeping this angle. You don't have to pull down at the ball. You're just getting up and out of the way. Just letting the hands roll it over. And that will then bleed into your iron game, and then eventually your ball striking will be a lot better. So please work on that and try and get good at that. Hope that helps. See you later.